Good morning. All right, I'm going to share this real quick before I get started. So if you're watching the replay, fast forward to probably, 30 seconds in maybe. Okay. So I wanted to come on here in full transparency, talk to y'all about a couple of things. Most of you already know because you watched the April aha moments that Chelsea and Mandy and I did. So beginning of April, I knew we were going to be going on vacation. So I literally just sat down and I was like, what am I doing that's actually making me money? And what am I doing that's just kind of fluff that I'm doing because everyone says to do it, but it's not actually like making me any money. So I made my list. And if you haven't watched the aha moment video, guys, go watch it. I'm going to link it in the description up above. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will link everything in the VIP page. So I'm going to link the VIP page in the description box. Click on that and then find this video, and everything that I'm talking about will be linked in there. I purposely don't put it public on YouTube for a lot of these different things because we do several things that other companies, if they got their hands on, would kind of take our edge away almost, and we don't like that. Like, we like being number one in the industry, so I don't plan on sharing the tips and tricks. So I also am going to link the host to post video, or the free ad video as I call it, in the description box as well, if you're on the VIP page. That way you can watch that, and it shows you the 4 things I do every single day that I signed, that got me to sign 25 customers in April, and I signed my 16th customer last night for May so far. So clearly the stuff that I'm teaching you works, and that's not even including the distributors I've signed. So full transparency, beginning of May, I was running. I was excited. Like I said, I got a lot of customers in April for the fact that I had 2 weeks of vacation. And I felt like I really gave it my all in April. Every day that I worked, I showed up and worked. The days I was on vacation, I purposely knew I wasn't putting as much work in, but I showed up and worked the amount of time I said I was going to work while I was on vacation. What I didn't tell you in that video was, yes, I cut the fluff when it came to the business, but I also cut the fluff when it came to stuff I was doing on the side. So here's the thing. A lot of times, once you reach a certain level in this business, you get a little complacent, or it gets hard and you're like, okay, I'm good right here. Like, I don't really want to grow further to grow my paycheck. And I know that sounds stupid, but you start finding things to eat up your time. This is where transparency comes in for me, because the 2 things I was doing to eat up my time was growing my Instagram and working with other brands, which I don't dislike doing, but it does, each time I partner with a brand and I create like an ad on them for Instagram, it takes up time I could be putting into this business. The same with my YouTube channel. I was actively growing my YouTube channel, and each time I spend hours editing a video, it takes up time I could be putting into this business. Now, I am the first person that'll tell you, don't cut everything out of your life for this business, right? Like, you work your life around the business. But at the same time, if you're someone like me and you're like, I have this goal for this year, for me, I want to be Presidential Diamond by the end of December. So in order to be Presidential Diamond by the end of December, I have to go all in with this. That means cutting everything else out. So YouTube videos and Instagram collabs, those aren't making me any money in this business. They're not making me much money at all. We have very big goals as a family that's going to take a lot of money over the next 24 months. Guess where that money is going to come from? It works. If I don't work, it works. The money's not going to come. So the several $1,000s a month paychecks I've been getting are awesome, but they're not getting the goals that we want to get. Those are like bill money and savings money and, a little bit of fun here and there, but it's not the big money that I want. So if you're someone, sorry guys, my voice is still not back all the way. If you're someone and you're like, I just want a couple $100s a month, this is not going to apply to you as much. Keep listening, because there are a few things that will, but you don't need to cut everything else out of your life. If you're someone and you're like, I want diamond, double diamond, triple, presidential, ambassador, for a while, you're going to need to trim all the fat, and you're just going to need to focus on this business when it's time to focus on the business. And I want to say that to say this. I'm not ever going to tell you focus on the business instead of your family, or focus on the business instead of God, or focus on the business instead of your health. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to make sure that you are focusing on the things that matter, not using them as an excuse. So for example, for example, my order of importance when it comes to where this business fits in my life: God first, family second, self third, business, it works, fourth, church/friends, fifth. Now I'm going to go through and explain what this is, because some of y'all are like, oh, you put church at the bottom. Like, that's bad. Church and God aren't the same thing, guys. So I'm going to explain that a little bit. But church is a group of people. So church is friends. Church is also a way to serve, depending on what capacity you're using the word church. So church and God aren't the same thing. They're not going to be on the same level. A lot of Christians get that mixed up. And then they tell me things like, well, I can't work my business because I'm just working at the church all the time. Why? Because most of the time their answer is, oh, because serving God is my first priority. Or God is not serving. God is my first priority. Well, babe, God and working at the church, those aren't the same thing. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But trust me, someone who went to Bible college and graduated at the top of her class, I went through the phase where saying no was a sin, basically, when it came to church. Someone asked me to go clean a toilet, and I said no. Oh gosh, God must not like me. That's not the way he is. So, to get back on track, God, which is my first priority, that's your relationship with God. So for me, that is, what do you call it? Personal devotions. So every morning I get up and I like to have 2 hours of devotional and journaling time. That's me talking with God and just talking with him as a friend. And reading my Bible and scripture and that kind of stuff. So that's what God is when I say God first. Going and cleaning toilets and teaching children's church and singing in the choir, that isn't God. Like, doing all those things doesn't get you any closer to God. God is a relationship. God is not a bunch of things you have to check off a list to be close to God. Now there's a time and a place, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but when I say God first, I'm saying God the person first. Not God, all the checklists that Christians think they need to check off to be a quote-unquote good Christian. Second thing is family. So what falls in the family category, I keep my house clean, I keep meals prepared for my family, I homeschool, family/glory. I just put it all in one lump sum. We have family time. I have time with my husband. Those are all important. Those are things that It Works is not taking the place of. However, some of y'all, family is a distraction because you do all of those things, but then you can never get on any Zooms because, oh, my kid's bedtime is, at 7 o'clock. You can't switch their bedtime to 7:30 or 6:30. You can. The answer is you don't want to because this isn't a priority. Now, and I say that's just an example. There's 3 Zooms a day, guys. If you don't want to switch your kid's bedtime, get on one of the other Zooms. I'm just saying, where there's a will, there's a way. I don't get on all 3 Zooms. And I'll be honest, our dinner time / Glory's bedtime is right around that 7 o'clock Zoom. There's plenty of nights I don't get on there. Sometimes we're playing games during that. But if I don't get on that one, I make sure I'm on one of the other ones. I was on the 5 o'clock Zoom this morning. Just staying around the fire. So using your family as an excuse why you can never show up to things, that's not a reason anymore. That's an excuse. That's saying the business isn't a priority. I'm going to put it on the back burner. But by saying, oh, well, it's because I'm putting my family first, you make yourself feel better about not showing up to your business. This is the way I look at it. If this was a job, and I'm just going to liken it to my husband's job, would I take off for fill in the blank? If the answer is no, why am I taking off of my business for that? Couple examples. I'm going to take my kid to the aquarium with a couple of her friends, and as a reward. Would I take off of work to do that? Yeah, I would. If I had a traditional job, I would have no problem taking off work to taking my kid to the aquarium. Now, my kid wants to play a game. It is not during a scheduled time that we should be playing. It is during a scheduled time I should be working. If I had a traditional job, would I call into my boss and be like, hey, I can't come to work today because my daughter wants to play Candyland? Sorry, I'll come to work tomorrow. The answer is no. And my husband would never do that. So that's where if you want to make big money with this, you have to treat it like it's a job, a business, whatever you want to call it. But you have to make it a priority and treat it like a clock in, clock out job. Now, this is all next level stuff. Obviously, you need to have clock in, clock out times boundaries, right? It's about 9 o'clock in the morning here. I've already done my first set of work while my daughter was supposed to be sleeping. Instead, she was on the couch watching a movie because she got her butt up at 5 o'clock this morning. So if she gets up super early, I let her lounge and have cartoon time, basically, for a movie, and then she starts her responsibilities. So today, she decided to take a nap instead of starting her responsibilities. Mom, I'm so tired. I was like, okay, go take a nap. I'll wake you up before school. So anyways, I hope that makes sense. Like, family first, but don't use family as an excuse, I guess is what I'm saying. The next one is self. So same thing, working out, meal prepping, stuff like that. Yes, I'm putting my mental health and my physical health above this business because the business funds a lot of our life, but if I'm not healthy enough to enjoy it, it doesn't matter anyways. You know what? Self-care, that's not something I should be doing instead of working the business, watching Netflix for 7 hours. I'm not saying every once in a while you can't sit and binge, but that's not something that should take priority. Oh, well, it's my favorite show. Okay, then earn your favorite show. And that's what I do. I do have favorite shows that I watch. I do it at the end of the night. I watch them as a rerun, except one show we do watch every Friday night, my husband and I, because it's a date night. But I make sure all my work is done before then. Business, okay? Cutting the fluff when it comes to business. Is what you're doing actually making you money? And that's where you need to go watch that host to post video I did about cutting the fluff. And the aha moments video, both of them, because they both kind of talk about it, and figure out, okay, what is my actual list for what should my list be for each day? What are my boundaries? Meaning you shouldn't be on your phone 24/7. You should clock in and clock out and have a set schedule of when you work and when you don't work. And then the last one is church/friends. Now again, church and God aren't the same thing. So that's where if someone's like, hey, and by the way, guys, we're a ministry family. We go to church 3 times a week. I sing in the choir. I sing specials. We ran junior church for 6 years. We're about to hop back into helping run the bus ministry. I'm not saying don't serve in your church. I'm saying you don't need to say yes to every single thing that comes along, especially if then you're going to turn around and complain that you quote unquote don't have time for this business. If it's important to you, you'll find time, which means you have to prioritize it. So, first thing, cut out the fluff. That's the first thing you need to do if you want to make big money with us. You need to have a game plan. You need to sit down and have your numbers written out. My numbers, I commit to asking 300 people per week to host a post for me. And then I follow that host a post system I outlined in the video. Guys, I signed 10 customers last week doing that. And it takes me all of 2.5 to 3 hours maybe per day to get done what I need to get done to sign those customers. And last week, I'll tell you, I worked less than that because I was under the weather a little bit. So if truly working for the big money is what you want, you've got to get real and raw with yourself and decide, okay, what's important to me, what's not, and get a schedule that you're going to follow. Again, if you're just wanting a little bit of money here and there, you don't need to cut everything else out because this is not going to be your sole income, your sole focus, your sole whatever, the sole way that you're getting to your goals. Now, again, the question I ask myself is, if this was Brett, would he take off to do XYZ, whatever I'm thinking about doing? Would he take off work to make a Walmart trip just because he's antsy and doesn't want to sit there and work anymore? Yeah, not a chance. Would he take off work to go meet, friends for a mani-pedi in the middle of the day? No, probably not. Now, if it was a friend that came in from out of town and whatever, yeah, he would. But you know what? If someone called me up right now and was like, hey, I'm heading to get a manicure. Do you want to come with me? I honestly would say, hey, I've already got someone who lives in town that I could easily, meet up whenever. Hey, I've already got my schedule out for the day, but I'd love to get a mani-pedi with you sometime. Or obviously, since you're getting one today, you don't need another one next week. Is there a time next week you'd like to meet up for coffee? Like, I'm not saying I don't meet up with my friends. I love my friends. I love my social time. But it's scheduled. It's not just willy-nilly whenever I want to get up and go, and then I never work my business. And guys, Do you know a friend in disguise is called an in-law? Do you know you are allowed to tell your in-laws no? You don't have to spend every waking spare moment with them. And it's hard when you work from home like this because people just, oh, well, she doesn't have a job. Like, she can just do whatever she wants. The problem is, with that attitude of, I just do it whenever I want, you don't need to do it right now. Right now never comes because someone's always eating up your time. So, number 2 is make a commitment for a minimum of 90 days. So, what I thought about titling this video was I committed for 30 days and nothing changed. Because I did. All of April, I committed. I worked my butt off. I told you, I ran into May. About May 10th, so 7 days ago, I looked and I was like, man, I really want to edit some video. Like, I want to start making videos again. Oh, I should go add some people on Instagram. I should start upping my network on Instagram again. And I want to get some more brands to collab with. And immediately my brain was like, yeah, it's time. I already committed for 30 days and nothing changed. Well, one, at the end of 30 days, there's nothing wrong with reevaluating. I looked at my stuff for those 30 days. I was leaps and bounds ahead of where I was in March. So yes, a lot of things changed. I just did not see like the big influx that my brain thought it was going to see. Logically, I knew I wasn't, but emotionally, I was like, oh, I wanted to see more to make it worth it. So I tell my team all the time, commit for 90 days. So why would I not take that same advice? So I'm committing to 90 days because technically what I did is a 4-month commitment. April was my first month, but because I was off for half the month, I knew I wasn't just doing 90 days. So that means I'm not doing any of the extra stuff until the end of those 90 days. So for me, the end of the 4 months. That's April, May, June, July. End of July, I'll reevaluate. If it's not worth it, I'm not making more money, yeah, I'll go back to doing what I was doing. Why not? But if it is worth it, which it will be because I'm already seeing the results, then I'm not going to want to go back to doing what I was doing because I can see Presidential Diamond literally creeping up on me sooner and sooner and sooner. So if you're going for a promotion and you're like, I did for 30 days, I didn't hit it, do it for the same thing for 3 months, then decide if it's worth it. Now, if at the end of the first 30 days, you're doing all the things and you're not signing at least your steps to success every month, something's not clicking, talk to your upline. It's probably conversations. I would be willing to bet that you probably need to tweak your conversations and make sure you're sealing the deal. Like 1,000% I can say that. I've had everyone and their mom that has come to me and said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm doing all the things. I tell them. First, I make sure you understand the system. Do you know how to update your hundreds list? Do you know how to do the follow-up progression? Do you know how to find people to host a post? Do you know how to do the progression with host a post? Because if you don't know those, that's first and foremost. Second is on the back end of, okay, now send me those conversations and let's see how they're playing out. Because just because you're doing a follow-up, how are you doing it? What are you saying when they come back with an objection? So there is some technical stuff on the end of there also. Remember, not everything that comes into your life to distract you is bad. The devil is very smart about using good things as a distraction. He'll use your church. He'll use your friends. He'll use your family. He'll use you. He'll use your hobbies and the things that you like to do. That's where I will never tell somebody like, oh, cannot believe you just spent 4 days making a journaling spread when you could have been working this business. No, if that's important to you, do it. But then don't turn around and complain that you're not making money or tell me, oh man, I really want to hit diamond. Okay, if you really, really, really wanted to hit diamond, you would be cutting out the fluff and you'd be focusing everything on getting to diamond. If you really wanted to hit triple, you'd be cutting out all the fluff and doing everything to get yourself to triple. Does that make sense? So first thing is cut the fluff. Second thing is make a commitment of 90 days or more. Have that game plan written out. Do the things that you're supposed to be doing. And the third thing is put God first. Guys, I sound like a broken record with this. That is okay. I've learned this the hard way dozens and dozens of times. Savannah's going to be watching this and she's going to be laughing because she already knows what I'm about to say. Because I've said it in so many videos, it's not even funny. But I fully do believe that doing all the work and being committed, but not asking God to come in and put his hand on your business is a sure way to fail with the business. I was reading, I'm going to pull it up. I was reading this morning in Matthew 21:21. Sorry, guys, I am. Whew. It says, Jesus answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. So, this is not saying that prayer is some magic thing that if you just ask for something, you're going to get it. But think of it like the relationship with your husband, or if you don't have a husband, your parents or your children. But husband is kind of the easiest one to liken it unto. So first off, actually, let me back up a minute. So you have all these goals, all these things that you want to hit. Have you told God about them? Because we say that God's a person, and we say we have a relationship with God, but then why aren't we talking to him about the goals? Why aren't we talking to him about our daily schedule for the day and asking him to bless it? We either think, one, it's not important, I can do it on my own, I don't need God for that, which is a very dangerous mentality. Or we don't do it because we think, oh, well, that's a waste of God's time. He doesn't want to hear about the dumb stuff like that, which is also a dangerous mentality because, again, you're not looking at God as someone you have an intimate relationship with, or you would know that he'd want to hear about that, just like your husband wants to hear about your goals, and or should. Hopefully you have a good husband and he likes hearing about your goals. But, so having said all that, again, like I said before, God's not church. So when I say a relationship with God and putting God first, I'm saying get up, have a walk with God before you start your work. It would be like the equivalent of me telling Brett that I love him. And every single day I cook and clean for him, but we never have any conversations. I never talk to him. Sometimes we go to bed together, sometimes we don't. I don't ever spend any time with him. I'm always busy working, but I'm doing stuff for him, right? So at the end of 6 months, do you think he's going to be a very happy husband? Do you think our marriage is going to be very good? The answer is no. God's the same way. I can spend all the time I want teaching junior church and ministering to shut-ins and cleaning the church and singing in choir. But at the end of 6 months, if I've never sat down and actually talked to God, our relationship is not there. I am relying on my own service to get me close to God, and that's not what the Bible says. So, like I said, prayer isn't magic, but again, it's just like your husband. Like if you ask your husband for something and you have a good relationship and the communication's there and the marriage is functioning like it's supposed to, your husband's going to do everything in his power to do that thing for you. But if the only time you ever talk to your husband is to ask him for things, he's going to stop wanting to give you things pretty quickly. So again, God is the same way with how he works. Now, God is good. God is gracious. I don't think if you skip your devotions one day, he's going to punish you and, make your business fail. God isn't vengeful either, at least not toward us, not toward Christians that are actively living for him. But like I said, I've been under the weather for, I guess, about a week now. And so a few days I slept in. I got up. I was a little more stressed than normal. I sat down and worked, and I realized I haven't done my journaling. Again, God's not going to punish me for that. But when it consciously happens to where I'm consciously putting my work, purposefully neglecting the relationship, that's when God's like, you're trying to rely on your own strength, and that's not how I planned it. So I remember it literally like it was yesterday. So I had a couple of days where I didn't journal. I didn't do devotions. Didn't do devotions, didn't journal. And I still signed people. And then on Thursday morning, like a light bulb switched. And I remember thinking this as I'm signing a customer. I was like, I don't really need to do my devotions every single morning. I don't need to spend all of that time. Because with the amount of host to posts I'm doing, the customers are going to sign up regardless. And at that moment, I took it out of God's hands, put it in my hands, and was like, I don't need him to do this. Like, I've got this. And I didn't consciously think at that moment that was such a huge deal. Obviously, it was. But I can tell you, between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, because I wrote them down, I went and checked this morning, I had 9 customers ready to order either on my website, or all they had to do was send me the info. Like, they were all the way through everything. Backed out last minute, or ghosted me, or blocked me for no reason. No reason at all. 9 customers, guys. And 2 potential distributors. 1 backed out. 1 said she sent me her info, never did, and then blocked me 24 hours later. Now, Sunday I woke up. Saturday night I went to bed feeling real crappy. I was like, my business is sucking. Like, everyone's blocking me. And it was like a small voice was like, well, duh, you're doing it on your own. You haven't asked me for help for almost a week now. And literally, it was like, I'm so dumb. I've done this more often than once. More often than not, I mean. So Sunday I got up. We didn't get up until 10. Our services were online on Sunday. We had an outbreak of COVID in our church, so we are online for a few services, and we'll be back in service on Wednesday, I think. So Sunday morning, I got up late. I did my devotion and journals first, and I literally told God, I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I know that wasn't a good attitude to have. I've done this before. Clearly, like, I should know better. Guys, I signed 4 customers on Sunday, back to back to back, pretty much effortlessly. You can call it a coincidence. I know it's not. But, and again, some of y'all are going to be like, you're a little cuckoo. That's okay. Like, my faith is that big that I know without God, my business wouldn't be running like it does. Now, this time it only took me 3 days to realize it. Okay, 3 days of doing it in my own strength. Usually, the last several times, it's taken me weeks, if not months, to realize why my business is sucking. So, if you are doing all the things, so you are, first and foremost, guys, you got to learn the system. If you don't know the system, spend time learning the system, talk to your upline, get your conversations ironed out. Like, you can do all the other things and you're not going to have the giant results if you don't know the system. But then cut out the fluff, get ironclad with your goals, and decide, am I going all in, or I just want to do this a little bit? And there's not a right or wrong answer, guys. But if you're going all in, you've got to go all in. So cut the fluff. Get this done. Second thing is commit yourself for at least 90 days of no fluff. And third thing is put God first. Because if you're doing all the things and your business is still sucking, chances are you're not putting God first in your business. You're trying to do it on your own strength, and God's trying to, every time someone is blocking you, or, you know, I'm talking about after they said yes all the way through. Not in the beginning of the conversation. I'm saying, like, you have them, they're on your website to order, and then boom, nope. You got to ask yourself. And again, it happens to all of us, but if it's happening consistently, like, 9 people in 3 days, that's usually God smacking you upside the head, like, hey, like, I'm right here, I can help you, but you're trying to do it all by yourself, and that's not what I intended. So, I hope this video helped a little bit. I'm going to, it's 9:20, I'm going to go wake up the kid, get some school stuff started, make some hydrate, and we're going to go about our day. Bye, guys.